Enroll. Welcome to A Closer Look. My guest this week is the Executive Director of the Bahamas Agriculture Marine Science Institute, Dr. Raveenia Roberts-Hanna. Dr. Hanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know you, of course, but the public, I'm not sure they know a lot about you. Tell me briefly a little bit about you and what we ought to know about the Executive Director of BAMSI.
Yes, well again, thank you so much for having me. My name is Dr. Raveenia Roberts-Hanna. I'm the Executive Director of BAMSI. So I have administrative oversight of the Institute. Prior to me joining the Institute, I have over 15 years experience in academia as a researcher and as an assistant professor. I have earned degrees, including a PhD in biological sciences, where my thesis was on the efficacy of ozone gas as a surface sterilant for fruits and vegetables in transit and storage.
Okay, fruits and storage.
Yes.
Fruits.
Fruits and vegetables in storage, yes.
BAMSI though, and that's why I focus on that. You were with BAMSI, you've been with BAMSI from the beginning, almost from the beginning. So you know about the growing pains. And I'm not trying to litigate what has happened throughout the growing pains, but I know one of the challenges you must have had at some point, one of your buildings burned. How was that affected what you do?
Well, I mean, it was unfortunate that we did lose a dorm a couple of years ago, but that did not impact our progress. We've been able to make great strides since our inception in 2014. We started off with 3 degree programs, one in agriculture, aquaculture, marine science, and now we have 10, including in animal science, art and the environment, environmental science, agribusiness, business management. We have several certificate programs. We have expanded and have outreach programs in the schools. We have an AFP program. So of course we've been managing it very well, I think, under the circumstances. But of course, we are in need of additional buildings because, again, with the increase in our student load and capacity, the infrastructure needs to be able to facilitate that growth.
So in addition to that building that burned, you need some additional buildings as well.
We will always need more buildings, yes.
Yeah.
So we are on campus, we are in existing buildings, and we are running smoothly. However, we do have some newer buildings that are near completion. So hopefully next year, for the fall 2021 semester, we will be in those facilities as well.
Whatever your plans, and you talk about what you offer, you're going to need a lot of money.
Yes.
What does your budget look like?
What budget? You know, because of this global crisis, all government entities' budgets really were cut, including ours. And it really is unfortunate because we do need that capital to do what we have to do. But we do understand that because of the environment and the economic environment we're in, why it had to happen. But I do want to make a plea that, you know, some reconsiderations be made.
And we understand the government's position.
Yes.
Are there any alliances, private donors, large companies that, again, we know about the pandemic and the impact it has had on everyone worldwide, but people who are interested in agriculture and marine science? Is there a possibility that you could get some private funding?
Yes, so we are looking into those alternative revenue streams, and we do have international and local partners, and so we don't say no to any opportunities, especially one that can help us economically and really help us get our message out. So yes, we do have plans for those, and yes, we do welcome assistance from entities.
Staffing, and what is your staff complement like?
Yes.
Do you have enough? What are you doing with them?
Well, you know, we don't have enough, to be honest, because again, we're growing. The impact of the COVID environment has actually increased our workload. So we actually need more additional technical staff in all the disciplines that we offer. But we have been able to provide jobs for many Bahamians, many Bahamians. 70% of our workforce is local, meaning Androsians.
Androsians?
Yes, so we have made some economic impact in that community.
COVID again, and you talk about what you offer. COVID has impacted, just made everybody
Yes.
rethink and redo how we did whatever it was we did. How has it changed what you do at BAMSI?
Well, surprisingly, it has actually increased our workload and what we do because we are essential, because no matter what you do in life, you have to eat. And we've seen the long lines in the food stores and the like. So our farm has actually had to increase its output so that more products can actually reach the local markets. Even the Institute with the teaching, we've had an increase in enrollment. And so again, we have to be able to be in a position to facilitate those needs.
And I think, again, we say BAMSI, agriculture, marine, you think the earth, the sea, hands-on kind of thing. But because of all of this, I imagine your online offerings must take on a much greater significance and sense of urgency at this point, eh?
Oh, yes, of course. Thankfully, we were able to pivot seamlessly into an online and virtual environment and platform. So our whole academic year is actually online, but it doesn't mean that the integrity of our academic program has not been compromised by that. We do have qualified staff that's there. We still engage the students in hands-on practical learning. We've totally embraced the electronic and the different software and technology out there. And it's all a part of the learning, it's all a part of the learning.
Have you found that your students have been challenged, because everybody's talking about we need tablets, we need laptops, we don't know about the electricity and whether we got the proper bandwidth. Have you found that your students are finding those challenges, or up for the most part they're able to?
Yeah, everyone has those challenges. Our student diversity really, we expand the whole Bahamas. So, what problems you may have in New Providence, you may not have in Abaco. So they're varied, but they do exist. However, our platform, our student information platform, and our learning environment actually is flexible to allow for the students, even if they do miss, they're still able to get the information in a timely manner.
We talk about BAMSI being established to facilitate, I guess, the growing produce. But there's a science behind all of this, yes. Which I know you're very familiar with because of what you do. How important is that now that we're talking about this, that everybody understands the science behind what you're trying to do down there?
Yes, agriculture is not only a skill, but it is an applied science. And so it's so important that BAMSI was established when it was, to give us that head start, and so that we were more proactive in our approach. But it's also important that we do have in all of our programs and in everything that we do that's science-based. So now in this environment, our students and our other clients are able to, they know, okay, what is the best crop to grow in this particular climate? How do you water, X, Y, and Z? And it's because of that knowledge that we're seeing all of those things surface and really take stage now.
Food security. We've been talking about food security for as long as I could remember. Long time ago.
Yes.
And I want you to talk some more about the importance of BAMSI and this whole issue about food security. I want you to think about it because we got to take a break. And we'll be back with more with the Executive Director of BAMSI, Dr. Raveenia Roberts-Hanna, after this. Welcome back to A Closer Look. I'm Anthony Newbold speaking with Dr. Raveenia Roberts-Hanna. She's the Executive Director of BAMSI. Before we took the break, talk about food security, and we've been talking about that forever. Mm-hmm. How does the work of BAMSI fit into the push to make sure that the Bahamas has proper food security?
Right. Well, this, as you would have said, food security has been a topic of discussion forever. And so we've had to take a multifaceted approach to it so that we can actually tackle the various components of it. So one component is the education and training component. We've worked and educated countless thousands of Bahamians either through our degree programs, our short courses, our specialty workshops. We've worked in the high schools and primary schools, partnering with those students and teachers so that they understand the concept. BAMSI has actually been the impetus for change. Whether you think about it in a good context or bad context, this conversation has started, and that is what's very important. So again, what I would have said before, whatever we do in life, we have to eat. So it's important that we get that message out to Bahamians to understand the importance of what we do, the importance of actually having not only food supply, but a healthy food supply. And not just having that, make sure that people have access to that. So again, through our research and tutorial farm, we've been able to distribute thousands of pounds of product, again, for the local market. We have made donations to various organizations. We've even assisted with the school lunch programs because oftentimes they lack a fruit or vegetable component. And so we've been helping in those avenues. We've been working with churches and other civic groups, again, to get the message out there.
Self-sufficiency, as you're talking about going to the schools, and self-sufficiency, if we to get there, it means that all Bahamians are going to have to participate.
Yes.
Years ago, we were a fishing village, so we didn't have a choice. We farmed and we fished, and that's what we did. We got into the 21st century, the end of the 21st century, early in moving into the 21st century. We moved away from it. The average age, I think, of a farmer, for example, is 60-something.
Yeah, 63.
We moved away from it, especially young people. Is that because, and you tell me about your research, they thought or think it's just hard work, not a lot of money into it? What have you found about that? And how can you bring them back in there?
Yeah, so, our job is really, again, to get the message out there and to make what we do more attractive to the young people. So yes, they have this misconception that it's drudgery, it's hard work, they don't want to get their hair and nails dirty, and so what we're doing, we're letting them know all aspects of it. So the farmer is just one component, or the fisherman is just one component. We need the accountants, to count those millions of dollars that we're going to get, right? We need the food scientists, we need the soil chemist, we need the agricultural engineer. So we want people to really know that there is dignity in work and there is a good payout at the end, not only the satisfaction of seeing your produce and seeing the impact of it in other people's homes, but that financial reward as well.
Something else, and we talk about value add to these various industries. There's bottling tomatoes, there's canning, vegetables, et cetera, et cetera. What are you doing to make sure people, especially young people, understand that that also is a part of what you do? And is that something that BAMSI can eventually do if you don't do it now?
Yeah, so we are doing that. We do offer courses in food processing. We've worked with organizations, including the Ministry of Agriculture and others who have assisted us with that. In certain of our courses, we actually have the students making ice cream and cheese and relish and things like that. We actually do have some products. We do have some jams, jellies, pickles. Right now they are in product development and we're doing taste testing, and so they're soon to hit the market.
And I think you alluded to this earlier, I was talking about private funding.
Yes.
You have alliances with other colleges, institutes. Yes. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, so I'm proud to say that we do have an international reach and scope. We have over 20 MOU and agreements with universities from China, throughout the United States, regionally as well. And what they do, they not only bolster our offerings, and provide that extra input into the students' curricula, so that even though we are country focused, our students have a global concept of what's going on. We're able to get additional training and certifications through the various organizations. So where we might have a shortfall, they pick up that slack.
And we kind of take this for granted. BAMSI is located in Andros.
Yes.
Speak to the importance of that, because everybody talks about the big yard and all this wonderful soil, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of BAMSI being located in Andros.
Well, that is where BAMSI should be, okay, because the backdrop, the ecological backdrop of Andros alone bodes well for what we do in environmental science and stuff. It is the breadbasket capital of the Bahamas in terms of the fishing. You have the bonefish flats and the like. So there's no better teaching space and classroom space than what is there in Andros. And so students get that holistic approach in agritourism, ecotourism, and the likes. It's a really wonderful experience.
Students come from where, primarily? Is there one place? Where do your students come from?
Yeah, well, mainly New Providence, but we also have a large proportion from Long Island, and Eleuthera, and Andros, of course.
I want to talk some more about that. I'm interested in who does what. We got to take this
No
final
problem.
break, and we'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to A Closer Look. I'm Anthony Newbold, speaking with Dr. Raveenia Roberts-Hanna, talking about the makeup of your student body. They come from Long Island, New Providence. Which part of your curriculum are they focusing on?
Right, so right now the two highly subscribed programs would be agriculture and marine sciences. So we find that, of course, those from Long Island have that pull towards the animal science and the agriculture part because of their exposure really to the livestock and the animals. Those in Eleuthera, for example, even with agriculture, is mainly to the crops, but everybody wants to get wet in the water, so they have this passion for the marine science environment as well.
And somebody was telling me about some other programs that you haven't mentioned. What is Soil to Supper and Roots? And tell me about those.
Yes, so, again, we have to be responsive to the needs of the country.
Right.
And we also, again, have to attract those up-and-coming generation that will really take us into the next level. And so our Soil to Supper program is really a student-led project. It's within one of our clubs, our agriculture club, which is, it follows the tenets of the 4-H club. And so what they do, those students actually go into the primary schools and they teach the students, they set up their gardens, their school gardens. They show them how to till the soil, how to do irrigation. They do lectures with them. And so during that whole period, they nurture that seed and them throughout until harvest. Upon harvest, they then cook the food. We have a culmination where they prepare the food and the students actually make their presentations based on what they would have learned so that they understand where does that food actually come from.
Okay.
And have a greater appreciation for it.
Aquaponics is also something that you do?
Yes, yes. So aquaponics, is the marriage between aquaculture and hydroponics. So it's a closed system. And so you use fish, the waste from the fish feeds in and nourishes the plants. And then the plants purify it and it goes back into the fish. So it's a wonderful cycle there. And what I'm proud to say with our system there is that we're actually the only in the Caribbean to offer that degree in aquaculture, the associate degree in aquaculture. And there's a report out that by 2030, 62% of the fish that we eat would have been farmed. So it's important that we teach those practices now. And we're actually setting up, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, we're setting up aquaponics systems in the various high schools so that they have that firsthand knowledge into that technology.
All right, you got a lot to get into a couple of minutes. How do you enroll in BAMSI if you want to take advantage of
Yes, because we have a lot of things to offer. You just simply go to our website, www.bamsibahamas.edu.bs, and you can apply online, submit all your applications online. You could email admissions or info@bamsibahamas.edu.bs for additional information.
Okay, we've been hearing about BAMSI. It's been around 6 years. Tell me about the plans that you have for BAMSI in the short term, medium, long term, as much as you can get to me in a couple of minutes.
Yes, I will try to do my best to condense it. So again, we have a targeted approach. We will continue to build on and offer additional programs to bolster our education and our training components. We are increasing our offerings also online, because we do understand that there's a market out there, an interest out there in certifications. We have some coming up in ecotourism, fly fishing certifications as well. In terms of the farm, we're going to streamline our offerings and also increase the amount of research efforts on it, so that we are able then to pass on that information to the local farmers. So we do the work for you, make it easier for them to facilitate what they have to do.
We expect that there will be people from Andros and Long Island.
Yeah.
You have interest from foreign students?
Yes, we do.
They know about BAMSI?
Yes, we do. Everybody knows about BAMSI. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to have started with our international enrollment this semester, but because of the COVID and the restrictions, that has now been postponed until next semester. So we actually have 4 colleges that are partnering with us for the completion of their degree. So we're working together with that. So we will have 4 sets of cohort beginning in summer of 2021.
And I know that you're still really building BAMSI and establishing that foundation there in Andros. Is there a likelihood at any point in the future that you could think of that we could see another campus for BAMSI somewhere else in the Bahamas?
Oh yes, that is one of the long-term goals, but we're actually making great strides in that. We do have some satellite offices out there now, but in terms of a campus, yes. So we are looking at the various islands to see which will be feasible and to offer what, yes.
How and as we come to the end of this, you know, and we talk about what is good for the various islands, maybe again, just to pull something out of the air, pineapples from Eleuthera. Are you involved in any way in helping the government determine how the government and the country should approach what is expected from the various islands in terms of crops, et cetera?
Yeah, so we do have a voice on the table, at the table, I should say, sorry, with the Ministry of Agriculture. So we have a wonderful working relationship with them. And so we do make inputs into some of the decision-making processes there. And if I could say, you know, even with this whole concept of self-sufficiency right now needs to start in one's home by, you know, simple backyard gardening. We offer online courses in those as well. And then you also have to look at it and take an island by island approach, because what might be needed in Eleuthera may not be needed in Mayaguana. And so we're working with those farmers and stakeholders per island to get them in a state of self-sufficiency for that island, and then it will spread out into the entire country.
And so finally, given where you are, given all the challenges you've had, you're comfortable with the trajectory that BAMSI is on, what you're doing right now?
Yes, I mean, you know, I am, but we could never be in a place of complacency. And so there's always work to be done. And so I'm glad that we are making tremendous strides, making positive impacts, the impacts of our graduates in the field. They're working well in their disciplines, as well as they are making great academic strides when they leave. You know, we've seen the impact of the farmers through our Associated Farmers program. We've seen an increase in the number of people who want to be farmers. And so we see those things, and again, we just want to continue to really develop and take this to the next level, because really agriculture and fisheries shouldn't be the third pillar, really. I know tourism will have a little discussion with me afterwards, but really we should be number one. It should be number one. It should be number one. We have the resources and we have the people.
And we have to eat.
And we have to eat.
Thank you very much. And thank you for watching A Closer Look. Remember, you can also see us on Facebook and on YouTube.